I've been muted the whole time. Need subtitles, but they'll have to just look at it. So the next one is the L. I'm going to do the left-hand side of the L and then come across freehand. I don't want you using the parallel rule for any of the drawings that, any of the letters. So again, I'm going on the left-hand side and then for the L. The H, first I do both H's, both verticals, and then I come across about a third of the way from the bottom and I run across with my vertical. Notice I've overlapped a little bit on each side. So the H comes across like that. Next one I'm going to do is the L. And notice I don't do all my verticals and then come and do my horizontals, because when you write a sentence, you don't write all your verticals and then come back and fill in everything else. You need to form one letter before you move on to the next one. Even if you're doing a whole row of L's, finish one L before you move to the next. And you'll notice my triangle stays on my parallel rule. It just glides back and forth. Next one I'm going to do is the T. Well, I did the T. I'm going to do the F. So again, I use my parallel, and then I follow that parallelogram. I come about a third of the way down, and I go about 2/3 of the way across. So there's my F. And then I've got an E, which is the F with the bottom piece in. So what I'd like you to do is to go through this and do 2 of each letter, and then go and fill in as much of the row as you have time to while we're working on it. So I've given you I, T, L, H. I did L twice. I, T, L, H, F, E. I will write them on the front board so you know which letters you're doing. And then we'll work on that for a few minutes. And then down. We'll do it again. So M. And what we're doing is every letter except the I is filling that box. So this helps you get the proportions and the scale correctly. Next, we're going to do N. And I'm going to go from upper left to about a third of the way from the bottom. And the only lines that are perfectly straight or use a tool are the vertical ones. So we got M and N. Then we're going to do W, which is the opposite of the M. I do both verticals first, move my triangle away, and then I'm going to put a dot about a third of the way up, and I'm going from top to bottom. So we're always going top to bottom. We're never double striking a letter, because when you're doing freehand, you'll never get it to match. So that's our W. Our Y, we start about a third of the way from the, you'll hear me say a third. From the top, we draw the center part of the Y and then top to the bottom. Again, here's my Y, and I go from top to bottom. I'm going to do 3 freehand ones. That'll be pretty easy for you. The V, and you're not doing this. You're going from top to bottom. And it may sound silly, but it does form the letters differently. X, just like you learned in kindergarten. And then the Z is. The difference is with the Z, you're following that parallelogram, so these top and bottom ones are slightly angled. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 new letters. M, N, W, Y, V, X, and Z. Okay, I'm going to continue with the letters that have a straight up and down line. So the first one I'm going to do is the J. And what we do is we do the left-hand edge, and again, you should be using that whole box. I'm not going to go all the way to the bottom, and then I'm going to come and do the little loop. They can overlap a little bit at their intersection if you want. Then I'm going to do the K. The K has a straight line up and down, and then I'm going to come to, I can mark a point about a third from the bottom, and the top part of the K is going to be straight, and the bottom part is going to have a curve to it. So again, I'm coming down straight and then a curve. I'm going to do the P next. So the P is a straight line down, and then it curves across. And then this part is parallel to that parallelogram. So the top part is a little more curved. So again, here's my P. And then the R is a P with a curve at the bottom. Next, I'm going to do the U, and then I'm going to stop. So the U straight line all the way to the bottom, and then this one only goes to about a little more than 2/3 of the way down, and then you come back and do the curve. So the one on the right-hand side is all the way at the bottom. The one on the left-hand side is part of the way down, and then you curve. So I'm just going to give you those 5 letters, J, K, P, R, and U. And actually, we'll do one more. We'll do the A. So the A, go from the top to the bottom, and then we're coming across. We're parallel about a third of the way up to that parallelogram, and we're overlapping a little bit. So the A is all freehand. So do those 6 letters, J, K, P, R, U, A. Because I want you to make sure that you follow through on that you can see the harder ones. Okay, I'm going to do the B. So the B has a straight line down, and then the top B doesn't go all the way to the edge of that box, and we come back parallel to that parallelogram, and then we finish. So again, straight edge at the top, come across, and finish. The next one is the D. The D has a straight line, and then this is almost like half of a heart. So I go straight up and down, and then I start a little bit below the top of that straight line, come up to the top, and I'm hitting tangent about a third of the way down, and then coming down. So it's like, think of half of a heart. That's my best description. Okay, the next one is the C. So the C, we're not going to start in the corner. We're going to start a little bit over, and we're going to fill that whole box. And then the G is the C with a straight edge. Make sure that doesn't loop, because we're going to do numbers, and the 6 would get confused with the G. The next one is the S. We're going to start in that upper corner, and we're going to go to about the halfway point with a straight line. And then we're going to curve. This is very different than how you would have ever written an S. It's how architects like to write an S. I like it because it's the last letter of my name. And then the last letter is the O. So the O, we're going to go counterclockwise, and we're going to angle it. It's going to look like a pill turned sideways. So I'm going to start in the middle, and I'm going to do like a pill, and I'm not going to connect them. because if you connect them, you'll notice if you're not even. Whereas if you don't connect them, so the O and the S are the ones people have the hardest time with. The Q is the O with a line through it. O with a line through it. And that gets us to the end of all of our letters. And I'd like you to practice those. Then I will very quickly show you the numbers, and then we're going to have a lecture. We'll take a break and then have a lecture. The first part of it is only about 2/3 of the way across, and then the bottom one goes all the way. The 4, you do a straight line up and down. Then you come down to about 1/3 from the bottom, and then go across. For the 5, I did my straight line first. The 6, think of the G, and then we got a loop in there. The 7's pretty easy. Go across and then down. And again, I'm going from corner to corner to corner. The 8 is the one that's the hard one. Think of a snowman. We're doing 2 ellipses on top of each other. So I'm going counterclockwise, and I'm doing one that doesn't fill the whole width. And then I'm doing another one at the bottom. The 9 is like the reverse of the P, except I'm making it more of a loop. It's like that's like a balloon on a stick. The 0 is your O. And make sure that the gap here is not too big. So again, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0. So practice one row of, go through the numbers twice.